Welcome to the new Yachtsman. Today I wanted to go over something I've had many requests for, which is what can I do on my own to learn about this subject matter? What should I read? What should I research? Where should I begin? And I don't want you to try to become a yacht captain. I don't want you to try to become a yacht mechanic, but you need an overall view of the operation of the vessel and how you use the vessel really before you start shopping. So as a new yachtsman, I would recommend the first thing you do is go out and get this book, Chapman's Book of Piloting and Seamanship. This is a huge book. I don't want you to learn everything in it, but it's a great resource. You'll use it like an open book to learn everything in it. But when you want to know something as you learn more, it's a great resource to look up in the index and understand a symbol on a chart, understand the term on a boat. It's a Bible of boating. It's got a lot of stuff in there you don't care about, like sailboats and stuff like that, but it's still good to know the parts of boats, even if it's a boat that you're not interested in buying. You should become familiar with the vocabulary of the industry, if you will. And you'll be surprised in there that there's a lot of stuff in there about weather and things like that. And one of the things I think you're going to find as a new yachtsman is you probably need to be a little bit of a meteorologist. You need to start thinking about, is it windy today? Is there a cold front coming? Is there going to be a big temperature drop and winds coming 3 days from now? One of the things you'll find when you move on to a motor yacht for vacation or for extended periods of time is you're very aware of the weather, and the weather will drive what you can and cannot do in a given week. It's not like an airplane where you're just going to go. You'll find here in Florida in the winter, there are probably 7 or 8 days out of 30 days in the month where the boat will not leave the dock. If it's very windy, it makes the waves very big and it makes the boating very miserable. So you can't always plan to just jump in your motor yacht like you jump in your car or jump in a commercial airplane. Yachting is very weather dependent, no matter how big your boat is. So start studying the weather patterns where you live and start thinking about, would today be a good day to be on my boat? Another thing that I find people are surprised at as new yachtsmen, especially here in the Southeast, is, thunderstorms. You don't want to be out in lightning in your yacht if you can help it. The odds of getting struck are still fairly low, but if you can avoid going boating during an afternoon thunderstorm, you would, just like you would playing golf or doing anything else outside. When you're out on the water in a motor yacht, you're the tallest object around, and you're much more likely to get hit than if you are in a marina with a bunch of other tall boats around you and a bunch of buildings and things. So you want to try to plan your boating according to the weather. You need to learn to pay attention to the weather, and you need to realize that you cannot plan yacht trip like you plan a car trip or a airplane trip. The next thing I'd like you to do is go get a chart. Get a chart of your local area. This is kind of like your map. And yes, all of these maps are available on your phone and on your iPad and on your computer, but I want you to get a paper chart and start looking at it. The computer screen and the iPad screen and the phone are all relatively small areas that are being represented. You need to start by being able to look at a chart and understand how far apart things are, so that you can start planning trips. And I find this is still best to do at a high level from a paper chart. And there are paper charts of the entire Earth, and they come at different scales. So there might be a chart that shows the whole state of Florida, and then there'll be a subchart that just shows Tampa Bay, and there might be a chart that shows 4 cities in Florida. So they're available on all different scales. When you're trying to do overall planning of how you would use your yacht, it really helps to look at these paper charts and just understand how far apart these ports are. And just because you're used to how far it is from Hilton Head to Savannah by car, by boat it could be much shorter or it could be much longer, depending on the path that the roads take and what shallow areas and things you need to go around when you're on the boat. So it can be very, very different between road miles and sea miles, not necessarily worse, You can actually get from St. Augustine to Hilton Head as a direct line across the Atlantic Ocean, the southern section of the Atlantic Ocean, much quicker in miles than you can drive it. That being said, you may have a city that's only 30 miles away by road, but it takes you 60 miles to get there by boat because there's a big peninsula that sticks out and it's very shallow. Another thing I want you to buy, get on Amazon and buy this. It's called US Chart number 1. This is required to be on any boat that you're on by the US Coast Guard. It's considered a safety device. And in this chart book, it's really a book, it explains all of the things that are on these paper charts. And all of those same things that are on those paper charts are on the electronics charts too. It can be very confusing when you first start using a chart plotter and you first start using your phone apps and stuff with these maps. If you don't have any background in reading the symbols, yes, it will show you exactly where you are. But unless you understand that this mark is a red buoy, or you understand that this is a mark for a sandbar, you really will get confused. And it's very easy to plan a trip on a chart plotter, and it's not a realistic route because it got shallow in between or there was an obstruction in between. So it's really important that you start understanding what you're looking at on the screen. The next thing I'd like to talk about is, when you're looking at the charts and you're starting to think about how you use your yacht, there's a few things that as a new yachtsman, you wouldn't necessarily assume. The first one is that when you're out in the ocean, you can't stop. So when ships are crossing the Atlantic or people are in their yacht and they're going 600 miles, they're running 24 hours a day. There is no way you can anchor your boat in 1,000 feet of water. And once you get away from land, the ocean gets deep very fast. And even if it wasn't deep, the waves are very big and it's not practical to anchor out in the open ocean. So when you're looking at using a yacht, you need to plan a trip. And that trip needs to have an A plan if everything's going great, and needs to have a B plan that if the weather got bad, instead of doing 60 miles today, I might only do 30. So as you're looking at the charts and the books, and I'll send you some links to some websites down below, you have to realize that, weather, mechanical problems, crew not feeling well, there's a million reasons why you can't keep to your current schedule. And you need to have a plan A and a plan B. And the whole thought of anchoring is kind of a special thing, and it doesn't really happen whenever you want. When you're traveling from one port to another, there may not be a good anchorage. So you need to have a marina reservation, or you need to plan to make it to a good spot to anchor. And on a longer voyage, you need enough people on the boat that are comfortable what we call standing watch. And standing watch generally out in the ocean means you're looking in front of you, making sure you're not going to hit anything, and watching the screen and the radar. You need enough people on board to be able to run 24 hours a day. Now, as a new yachtsman, you're probably going to have a captain for the first many months or maybe forever. So you'll have a captain and yourself and maybe your wife or some other friends and family with you. So with 3 people, you can go on a long voyage. I prefer 4. That way one person cannot feel well, and 4 people can pretty much run nonstop. It can become hard to sleep on a very long trip, but most of you in the beginning are going to start coastal cruising. You're not really going to run at night. You're not really going to do long passages in the beginning. So don't really worry about that. But you will find yourself, as you get more experience, you want to cover larger and larger distances without stopping, because you want the boat to get from Florida to Nantucket in a week. If you want to do that, you can't stop every night in the marina and make it in that amount of time. But you can certainly do that if you stay out for 2 or 3 nights and you have the right crew on board. So I just want you to realize that using the motor yacht is not like a plane. It's not like a car. It's very weather dependent. And you really have to plan your trip. You have to have a place you're going to stop if you want to stop. Another area I think you can start researching is cruising guides. When you go to West Marine or your local marine store, There are cruising guides for local areas. There's one for the Chesapeake Bay. There's one for New England. There's one for the East Coast of Florida, one for the West Coast of Florida. And it has small charts in it. More importantly, it has paragraphs about different areas. So it'll talk about a town and the town dock and the marinas that are there, the facilities that are at that marina. These cruising guides are really good for you to start envisioning how you use your yacht and where you might go. And I think when you're first talking to your family about this lifestyle, one of the things that you should do is maybe visit a place you might want to go on the boat. So if you're thinking you might want to take the boat to Charleston, for example, go to Charleston by car. When you go to Charleston by car, go to the top 2 or 3 marinas and eat at a restaurant or 2 that you can walk to from one of those marinas, and look at the map of the town and see what you could get to by boat. And when you're at dinner, sit down with your family and talk about, what if we had a yacht here in the marina and we could stay for 10 days, or we could stay for 2 months? Is that something we'd like to do as a family? Because I think that's the most important thing about using a motor yacht. Is some of you are going to want to go to a remote island and hang out where there's no people. And you will do that sometimes, and it's great. But most of my Florida and East Coast cruisers are really marina hopping much of the year. And this marina hopping is really using the boat as a mobile home base to explore different areas of the country and to escape bad weather north or south. So I think if you visit these places with the intention of visiting them again with a yacht, it'll really help you solidify how you would use your yacht and kind of what type of yacht would it be. When you walk the docks, I want you to look around at the different boats that are there, and you'll probably quickly find that you could never live in that thing when it's 30 feet long and it's 20 years old. You're going to want to go to the bigger marinas. You want to go to the bigger docks. You're going to find that the nicer marinas tend to be in the nicer parts of town, and that's where you're going to want to be. You're also going to be surprised when you start exploring these marinas that not everyone with a yacht is rich. I was shocked when I moved to Florida and figured out that some of the poorest people I've ever met live in the marina. They live on a 30-foot boat that hasn't moved in 20 years. So there's every extreme in these marinas, and not all marinas are nice, but the nice marinas are really nice. They have great facilities. And the dock master is kind of the guy in charge of these marinas. Introduce yourself to the dock master and ask him to show you and your family around. You'll find that they have great bathrooms and workout rooms, and they have laundry facilities. Not that you can't do all that stuff on your boat, but when you're on the boat and there's 6 of you on the boat and you've been gone for a week, and the laundry room has 6 washing machines and 6 dryers in it, and they've got a great workout room and a shower where you never run out of water. Using that facility is a really nice thing. So you're going to be surprised how nice the marina life can be in a really nice marina. And the main guy's called the dock master, and then the other guys are called dock hands. And the dock hands work for the dock master. And there's almost always 24-hour security at these places as well. To meet the dock master, you're probably going to have to be there between the hours of 9 and 5. So try to get to some of these marinas during the day and let him know that you're exploring buying a yacht and you would like to explore the facility. And I think that most of my yacht customers try to move the boat between 50 and 100 miles at a time. That makes it a pretty easy day during daylight hours. So if you're going to move the boat, 600 or 700 miles to change the scenery and change the weather, you might want to plan on a week or 10 days to do that at your leisure. Not to say again that you couldn't do that in 3 days if you're doing 24 hours a day with the right crew on board. But 50 to 100 miles is a very comfortable day. You only have to run for a few hours in a fast boat, and then you have time to see the place as well. Please, give me more ideas and questions that you've been sending. It really helps me solidify what to talk about next. And please like and subscribe if you like this content. And I've got some really good episodes planned for the future. So please send us a like. Thank you.